My next guest is going to be competing this Sunday at the Sapateiro Invitational against Joe Baize. It is Emil Fischer joining me here on the program. Emil, how are you?
I'm fantabulous.
That's good to hear, man. First time I've had you on the show. Where did this journey begin? How did you get into jiu-jitsu?
Um, I started doing martial arts back when I was 8 years old, doing Kempo karate. When I was 14 years old, some people came to spar with us that had some experience with Gracie Jiu-Jitsu under Helson Gracie, and I've been doing it off and on ever since. That was about 20 years ago. So,
When was that moment you decided to not just do this as a hobby, but do this with competitions as well?
I mean, when I first moved back to Cleveland in 2011, I'm originally from here. I lived out of state for a while, then I moved back. I really wanted to train and see what I could do with this martial art. I'd never competed in anything. I'd never really done anything seriously. And I was training at a gym, and one of my training partners was like, hey, let's go do this little tournament. It was like one of those little $20 in-house things at somebody's gym somewhere. I did it, and I was like, I don't really like this, but I'll try some more. And I was really curious why I would freak out when I was in competition, and I'd forget everything I knew. Because what I'd find is I'd go out in the competition mat, and I'd be bumped back to beginner status very quickly. And I realized that it was that I wasn't comfortable with competition. I was like, no, I got to beat this. I've never been one to take something like that sitting down. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to try competing more. And then I got some pretty cool wins under my belt, and a local donut shop who's no longer in the picture, but a local donut shop whose owner at the time was training, offered to pay for me to compete. So I started just competing as much as I could, take full advantage of it. And I got really comfortable in competition and started getting some really cool opportunities like the ones you've mentioned, my Sapateiro title match this upcoming Sunday. And then I also have a Fight to Win pro title match coming up at the end of the month. So it's keeps coming at me.
That's good. Yeah, the opportunities are coming your way. Obviously, you put good out there, good comes back at you, right? It's that old saying or whatever. Now, are you a combat sports fan? Do you watch like MMA and boxing as well, or are you just purely jiu-jitsu?
I used to watch MMA a lot more. I feel like the market's become saturated. Uh, more now than ever. There's so many different things to follow, so I have a hard time following. I try to follow my teammates at Strong Style and keep track of what they're doing and try to watch their fights. Otherwise, there's some fighters that I like to watch, but I'm not really much of a watcher.
Okay, that's interesting. And how'd you end up linking up with Terphouse? I see you got the T-shirt on. I got the same one. It looks really cool. How did that all come together?
Well, Terphouse started selling their products at Strong Style a while back, and it was just one of those things. I think Eric saw that I was not working with any CBD companies. Eric Tisler, who's one of the employees of Terphouse, and he reached out to me, and I did like their products that I tried, and so I was like, hey, man, if you guys want to work with me, that would be wonderful. I really like and believe in the product. It's helped me out a lot with my training for these upcoming matches, and I just had a match on Saturday against a guy by the name of Joe Baize here in Cleveland for the King of the Mat 205-pound Challenger Series title, and I defended my title again for the third or fourth time. And I feel like Terphouse and CBD oil, and also I do a lot of cryotherapy with Cleveland Cryo. That combination of factors keeps me on the mat. I'm 34 years old, and I'm able to keep just going at it.
That's great. What do you like using as far as the products? Everyone's different. I know they like the cream. Some people like the drops. What's your go-to when it comes to recovery?
So I have not yet tried the Terphouse cream. I plan on trying it very soon. I think it's going to be a big help for me because I do have a lot of localized soreness. I take the tincture, the drops, and I really like the high concentrated watermelon. For me, that I feel a substantial difference between that and the 1,200 milligram dose. Both are helpful, but the 3,600 really has a kick to it.
Let's talk about your opponent here, Joe Baize, like you mentioned off the top. How do you feel like you match up against him here? What do you know about him?
So Joe Baize is the very first leg locker I ever saw in action. For anybody who doesn't know, in jiu-jitsu, there's different kind of meta games. You've got your IBJJF point style. You've got specific games within that. One game that is really popular right now is the leg lock game, and that involves entangling somebody's legs and then breaking them. Joe Baize is a pioneer on that front. He's one of the first Americans to do it really well. He won the ADCC trials in 2010. So he's been in the game for a long time. He's a second-degree black belt. And he's just torn through countless black belts that they've thrown at him at various promotions and different, local events. And so to get to go against somebody like that's a real honor for me. He's a 3-time EBI vet. I think he's a 2 or 3-time Submission Underground vet. The guy's been around. So to get to go against him is a real honor because I fancy myself an up-and-coming leg locker. I'm learning the game. I'm still trying to figure it out. So to get to go against somebody who's cemented themselves as a fixture in this world, even if regardless of the outcome, it's an honor to get to do it. And I'm really grateful to Joe and to Josh LeDuc, the promoter of Sapateiro, for offering me the opportunity.
Who are some of your main training partners that are helping you get ready for this match?
I put a lot of time in with a gentleman by the name of Wyatt Routson. He's one of my training partners at Strong Style. Trained quite a bit with Jeff Pelton because he's been doing a lot more grappling. I did a bit of work with some former opponents, just kind of one-off training sessions that were really helpful. Rocky Edwards, Ken Robeson, and also I got to train for over the weekend when I was doing the King of the Mat. A gentleman by the name of Quentin Rosenzweig came up here for the 185-pound bracket, and he's one of the best leg lockers on the planet right now. So I got to train with him all weekend, so that was fun.
Good. And how about the weight cut? How's that going?
Also, there's my coaches, Pablo Castro and Sean Dougherty. They've been helpful, and Marcus Marinelli actually was.
Oh yeah,
help.
Nice. Okay, that's good.
Marcus Marinelli, for anybody who doesn't know, I mean, he's not a competitor because he's in his 50s. That man has the scariest ankle lock I've ever felt in my life.
Okay, well, there you go.
I felt some bad ankle locks. I mean, I felt an ankle lock by Gary Tonin. I felt ankle locks by some of the best guys. Nothing compares to Marcus's. As far as the weight cut goes, I don't cut weight. So.
Oh, okay. So just, you compete. That's good then. We're going to get you at your best, right? You don't have to worry about any getting dehydrated or anything.
I've never lost a match because I was weaker than my opponent. I've lost matches because I wasn't well conditioned for the match. I've lost matches because my technique wasn't where it should have been. But I've never lost a match just because of athleticism. And anyone who says that they have, it's a cop-out, at least in jiu-jitsu. In MMA, it's different because you're throwing weight around, you're striking, there's things like that going on. In jiu-jitsu, you don't lose because of size. Size is a weapon, but it's not the only weapon.
How do you see this unfolding on Sunday?
I'm hoping to win.
Well, yeah, I mean, obviously, but how do you see it sort of playing out between the two of you? You mentioned your opponent has a lot of experience, so obviously he's been put in a bunch of different positions.
I don't know what his game plan is going in. I know that I do a lot of tape study, and so studying Joe's tape, he pulls half guard, and then what he does is he either sweeps the opponent over, or he goes ahead and enters leg entanglements from the half guard. So I've been drilling a lot of that. I know that Joe tends to favor the left foot when he's attacking. So I've been specifically working on defending the left foot. Now, that's not saying that I haven't been working on the right foot too, but it's about being prepared for what your opponent is best at. So that's what I've been working on. As far as how it's going to unfold, I'm gonna try to just live in the moment. I can't predict what's gonna happen. I'm gonna try to make the match go where I want it to go. I have a couple of areas that I've been specifically working on. I've analyzed some of Joe's losses and have seen some opportunity there for me to work some of my strengths playing in, but we'll see. I try to go into these sorts of matches open-minded. I recognize the level and the depth of my opponent, and to assume that I know what's going to happen is unhealthy.
You also have a match coming up for Fight to Win against Matt Paul. We were talking a bit off air about that. What can you tell us about that fight that's going to be coming up? You said at the end of the month.
So that I just found out about that last night. I'm super excited to get to go for the Fight to Win Pro brown belt, the title here in Cleveland. I've gotten to do now 2 matches, the 2 Fight to Win Pros that they've had here in Cleveland, but this is really an opportunity to showcase my skills. Matt Paul is a tough MMA fighter. He's 3-0 on the Fight to Win Pro circuit. I know that he's got some submissions and some positions that he favors. I know that he's been finished in some matches with certain techniques. So I'm going to be working on that. I'm not even really thinking about this match until next week. And unfortunately, I'm going to be traveling out of the country to Israel at the end of next week. So what I'm going to be doing is when I'm in Israel, I'm going to be training there, maybe doing some seminars. I know I have one seminar in Kfar Saba on April 16th at Team Brand, which is a Renzo Gracie affiliate in Kfar Saba. So I'm going to be doing that while I'm there, just getting ready, just trying to train as much as I can and drilling my entries and drilling my entanglements.
Emil, it was great getting a chance to talk to you, man. A really exciting matchup coming up here on Sunday. Just remind people where they can find you on social media, and if you have any sponsors or shout-outs, the floor is yours, man.
For sure. So my social media, Instagram and Facebook, athlete pages are Emil Fischer, BJJ, EMILFISCHER, BJJ. As far as sponsors go, of course, there's the Terphouse. I also am sponsored by Eddie's on Coventry, North-South Jiu-Jitsu, Not a Rookie, Meerkatsu. I've also got Cleveland Cryo and Trap and Roll Soap Company, and then I'm a brand ambassador for Ludwig van and Vanguard Kimono. My team is Strong Style MMA. My coaches are Sean Dougherty and Pablo Castro. And thank you so much for your time.